And welcome back. The holiday season for most people is a fun time filled with parties, celebrations, and social gatherings. But for some, it's a time filled with sadness and anxiety. What actually causes holiday depression? Well, we want to talk about this, and we brought our therapist, Luis Lopez, here with us. And good to have you back again.
Darren, good to be here as well. It's always a pleasure to be on a program that keeps the organization and community informed with latest things and helping them out as much as possible.
We try. So, I'd say the holiday season is upon us, and I can say happy holidays to you, right?
Likewise, happy holidays.
Happy holidays, right? But for everybody, it's not a happy holiday, which is really the theme of this segment.
Absolutely.
Talk to us about this, because we've got some people who really, when this season comes, this time of year comes, it's really not all the best.
That's true. That's very true. So, a lot of things that a lot of individuals may be facing or dealing with in this time of the season is, depression can be increased related to family issues, like if there's a loss or, if, family members are dealing with drugs or other things like that. Mm-hmm. Being that the holiday season is supposed to be a family situation, and if that person is missing someone or something that's happened, that can increase the depression. A lot of people can feel lonely, can withdraw, and can go through certain things that really affect them. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was going to ask, what are some of those real causes? I mean, we talk about death could be one, and then you got issues of, hey, I can't really provide for my kids during a time when everybody's buying gifts. I can't buy those gifts.
Absolutely. That was going to be my second point. This time of the season can be very stressful, right? There could be a lot of financial limitations, a lot of expectations, a lot of demand on an individual may not be able to keep up with that, and that causes a lot of stress and anxiety. So folks can also go down that route as well, and that could be an issue in this time of the season.
So when you have this stress, when you have this anxiety, what's the best thing to do? Because a lot of people tend to keep it in. And you're the guy that, we talk to, right? But the reality is that a lot of people don't talk. And what can I do?
If an individual doesn't want to take an opportunity to explore those emotions or that situation, that can lead to a negative impact, right? And we definitely don't want to go that route. Mm-hmm. So one of the recommendations would be to try to speak to someone, try to engage in activities that can help them feel better, like start new traditions, spend time with other family members, maybe take care of themselves, like exercise, get enough rest, adjust their schedule, set limits on what they can do financially and things like that, so it wouldn't be overwhelming or overburdened for them in this type of season.
Walk me through this. If I'm a family member or a friend, right, and I've got a loved one that I'm particularly concerned about, how do I discern what are these real symptoms and signs when somebody's going through this holiday stress?
One of the signs that can come up when a person is dealing with holiday stress or depression is isolation. They seem to tend to isolate. They're not really involved. They're not engaged. Easily getting irritable, getting angry, sadness, crying, things like that. Those are typically indicators that something's wrong with the individual. Mm-hmm. And a family member, would be highly recommended for them to try to reach out to them, try to provide that help and that support that they can desperately need in this type of season.
Take me to your office for a minute. A person walks through the door. They say, this is what I'm struggling with. This is what I'm dealing with. What's the conversation that you have?
All right. So a person comes in. I have, introduced myself. We sit down. Let's talk about that a little bit. Tell me what happened. Has there been anything specifically that happened recently, or what are some things that come to your mind around this season? And then we talk about it. We try to explore it. Then, all right. So what are some things that probably have helped you in the past? How can we bring that to the present? These are some things that I suggested, and these are some things that may help. Let's talk about it. Which one you feel that is the best one that can apply to you, and then we take it from there. Mm-hmm. Some of the suggestions, as I mentioned before, is try to get involved, try to volunteer if it's possible at a local soup kitchen or in a church activity. These are things that sometimes help the individual feel like, oh, I'm part of something. This is helping me. I feel good when I do these things, and it's highly recommended to try some of those.
So during the holidays, of course, we know that this depression, this anxiety, these things creep up. Is there an expiration date to this? I mean, is it like the day after? Is it a week after? What do we normally find with people?
Well, that's a good question. In the holiday season, the peak is typically in those areas. Shortly after, I wouldn't say immediately like the day after. It could subside maybe up to 90 days or maybe 6 months later. It all depends on what's going on with the individual. Obviously, the financial piece is a stressor that can be a little bit longer than that. But typically, shortly after the season, individuals that are just dealing with this type of stressor, it tends to go away.
Yeah, we talked about a few of the things. I want to go back a couple of them. Unrealistic expectations. Talk about the unrealistic expectations that people have.
Well, one of the great unrealistic expectation is the gift giving. You know, we
Right.
tend to go over and beyond what we actually can afford to provide for other people. Maybe going to different places that possibly we not physically or able to be at. Engaging in a lot of activities, trying to keep up with a lot of things. An individual can really extend themselves beyond what they're able to do when it comes to the holiday season. That could be an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah, and the inability to be with one's family and friends for people who, you know, maybe I should say stationed somewhere, located somewhere, or maybe even incarcerated. Right? We know that those persons have, within the prison walls, a lot of people have suffered from depression simply because I'm not able to be with my family and friends.
Absolutely.
Are there things that we can do in terms of, if I'm a friend, talking, saying, speaking, to be of assistance to that person that might be just going through it?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that if there's family members or friends that have an individual that's incarcerated, being their friend, connecting with them will be a great thing. There is this program called Angel Tree that it's a wonderful program. What it is there's local communities, local church that get a gift for a child, for a person that's incarcerated, and then it's delivered to the family member as though it came from the person that's incarcerated. So that's a way of helping that individual sort of feel like good in this type of season. So it's an excellent thing to do.
Yeah, a lot of things to tap into. Thank you for coming with us and sharing
problem.
with us. And you know, it's a rough time for some people, but
It
it's
is,
also
it
a
is.
happy time. You know, it's the best of times, it's the worst of times, but that's why we bring you here to help guide people through the worst of times.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Good to have you. All
good to
right.
have me.
Take a quick break. Listen, once you stay with us, we've got more open. Don't go anywhere. Come right back right after this.